Bring in our senior political analyst now, Marwan Bishara. And Marwan, we've got the UN today remembering the terrible loss of life in Gaza, 101 of their employees, even as it remains polarised and paralysed at the top of the organisation, and it can't stop any of these deaths.
No, as Secretary General Guterres said, they don't have the power and they don't have the money, but the only thing they do have is the voice, and they are now more than before voicing their displeasure, if not their condemnation of what is going on. And clearly this manifestation, as it were, of the flag is a scream. It's more than a voice. It's really a scream of help, as well as a condemnation of the killing of their own staff. But the question that keeps coming to mind the last 5 weeks is, why is it that this little naughty state, Israel, can be in such grave violation of UN resolutions, UN security resolutions, can be in grave violation of international law, can attack the UN Secretary General personally for making a speech saying none of this could happen in a vacuum, as if the response is this could happen in a vacuum. So, and then the killing of the UN staff, and so on and so forth, and then making all these aggressive, apprehensive attacks on the UN and its staff. It begs the question in the end, shouldn't it be censured? Shouldn't it be frozen or something? Shouldn't the UN take certain measures about a country that is an affront not only to its soul and spirit, but it's also an enemy of its own staff? I wonder.
Well, an extension of that is, why does the US support it wholeheartedly?
Of course, the US has the politics and the policy and the strategy. The politics, of course, now it's a scandal around the world how lobbies in Washington tend to influence politics and especially foreign policy. And the Israel lobby, which should be distinguished from a Jewish lobby, the Israel lobby in Washington, which is a combination of evangelical Christians, the military-industrial complex, as well as various radical Zionist organizations in America, all of them really have huge influence on decision-making, especially in Congress, but also on the White House. And then there is the idea that Biden and others have sold to the American public that Israel is some kind of an aircraft carrier in the Mediterranean, that without Israel, if it didn't exist, we would have created Israel because it serves our interest. This might have been correct sometime between 1970 and 1984, maybe, arguably. But certainly the past 30 or 40 years, Israel has been a burden, not an asset to the United States, which just the last 5 weeks, would have shown us that how much of a liability it has become. The entire greater Middle East, 57 Arab and Muslim majority countries, are standing against Israel and asking the United States to stop being so hypocritical and to use double standard in its foreign policy. And the majority of public opinion, including in the United States, and asking for a ceasefire. So really the Biden administration knows that Israel is a liability, but continues to support it because President Biden himself has been blinded by his so-called I'm a Zionist, although I'm a Christian, and boxing himself behind Netanyahu. And just a quick note about that, by the way. He was a vice president for 8 years under Barack Obama. And Barack Obama spent his 8 years trying to decouple the mindset between the United States and Israel. Because the United States is a superpower. It's not supposed to act like a little rogue state. And Biden was part and parcel of those 8 years of Biden administration. But now Biden is back again, coupling the mindsets and repeating and supporting everything that Israel says, which is quite paradoxical and quite damaging to America's standing in the Middle East and beyond.